Her last wish before execution was to see her dog, but what happened next changed everything. Death row was soaked in oppressive silence. Only a few hours remained until the execution. Ekaterina asked for no final meal, refused to see her family. Her only wish, to see Baron, her dog. When the door swung open and he entered, the entire room held its breath. No one had ever seen a dog growl, not out of fear, but out of the truth people try to hide. The morning dragged endlessly. Keys rattled in the narrow hallway. The guards' heavy steps echoed through the concrete. Every sound felt like the ticking of a countdown. Ekaterina sat on a metal bunk, staring at the gray floor. 7 years had changed her face. Wrinkles, exhaustion, quiet resignation. But one spark remained in her eyes. Baron. The only one who never abandoned her when she was accused of murder. She had screamed she was innocent that night, but no one listened. Baron had fought to stay with her until they dragged him away. She hadn't seen him since. When the warden entered her cell, she didn't look up. "Your final request?" he asked coldly. Her reply was soft but firm. "I want to see my dog. Only him." Silence fell. The guards exchanged uneasy glances. "No way," one muttered. "A dog? In a prison?" But the senior officer frowned. He knew her file. No violations. No complaints. Let her say goodbye. Hours later, the warden finally nodded. 10 minutes. In the yard. Ekaterina nodded. 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes of her life. And somewhere beyond the walls, unaware, Baron was already sensing he was being called where truth, lies, and fate would collide. The prison yard was cold, damp with morning air. Ekaterina was brought out under guard, her hands shackled but her steps steady. On the concrete square stood one chair, nothing else. The heavy gates screeched open. All eyes turned. He entered. The dog she had once picked up from the street. Wet, trembling, a tiny puppy. Now he was grown, strong, with thick black and rust fur and bright, intelligent eyes full of recognition. Baron froze for a second, as if not believing. Then his whole body jolted. His tail began to beat wildly. Ekaterina dropped to her knees as soon as the guard loosened the leash. Baron bolted toward her, crashing into her chest, whining, licking her face. The guards turned away. Even the toughest couldn't look without feeling a lump in their throat. For a moment, there were no bars, no chains, no death sentence. Only a woman and the dog whose bond no verdict could sever. But then Baron stiffened. His fur rose. The wagging stopped. A low, dangerous growl came from his chest. Ekaterina froze. She knew that look. Baron sensed danger. Or a lie. His eyes were fixed on one guard. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair. Officer Lebedev. "Control him," the guard hissed, stepping forward. "Baron," Ekaterina whispered. "Easy boy." But deep inside she already knew. It was not okay. Her dog never made mistakes. Baron stood between her and the guard, growling louder. "Hold the dog back." Lebedev barked. But the warden raised a hand. "Wait." That growl was not madness. It was truth. The kind animals feel long before humans do. Ekaterina touched Baron's ear gently. "What do you sense, boy?" He didn't blink, staring at Lebedev. "He was there," she whispered, her voice trembling. "The night my neighbor died. He was there." Silence. Lebedev snapped. Officer Sokolova, the only one who had ever treated Ekaterina humanely, frowned. "What did you say?" "He was there," Ekaterina repeated, her voice suddenly steady. "Baron remembers him. He growled exactly like this when Lebedev came to our house." Murmurs spread among the guards. Sokolova turned to Lebedev slowly. "You were on duty that night, weren't you? Why isn't your name in the report?" "I was just passing by," he muttered. Baron lunged, straining the leash. The growl became furious. Sokolova looked at the warden. "We need to check this. Now." "That's enough," Lebedev shouted, stepping toward Ekaterina. Baron blocked him instantly, fur bristling, eyes blazing. The warden made his decision. "To interrogation. All of you. And bring the dog." The interrogation room was cold, empty. Ekaterina sat across from the warden. Baron lay at her feet, staring at the door. Lebedev entered moments later, his steps tense. Baron sprang up at once, growling, rigid. "You're seriously listening to a dog?" Lebedev snapped. The warden didn't answer. "Your signature is missing from the arrest report." "What?" "I told you. I was only helping." "A witness claimed he saw someone resembling you leaving the victim's house," Sokolova said. Lebedev went pale. Baron lunged again. The leash strained. Why were you there? Ekaterina asked quietly. You knew my family, didn't you? Shut up. Lebedev slammed his hand on the table. You're a murderer. You deserve. I'm not, she said calmly. But you. She looked at Baron. Baron remembers your face. Something clicked in the warden's mind. Old evidence, fingerprints, inconsistencies. We're reopening the case, he said finally. We'll compare fingerprints. Lebedev panicked. You can't do that. But the guards were already behind him. Baron didn't look away even once. A week passed. The case was re-examined from the beginning. Fingerprints from the crime scene didn't match Ekaterina's, but matched Lebedev's perfectly. His DNA was found on the victim. Witnesses confirmed seeing him. Baron had been right all along. When Ekaterina's charges were officially dropped, she didn't cry. Her tears had dried years ago. She simply watched the sunrise. Then she heard familiar footsteps. The clang of locks. Ekaterina Krylova, a guard said softly. You're free. Outside the gates, journalists and cameras waited. But she saw only one thing. Baron, waiting for her, tail sweeping the ground. She fell to her knees, hugging him. We did it, boy. We proved it. Baron barked softly. A sound full of relief, joy, and eternal loyalty. Months passed. Ekaterina lived in a small house near the forest. Every sunrise began with Baron's quiet bark. No chains. No concrete echo. Only freedom. Sometimes Sokolova visited. They sat on the porch in silence, watching Baron run through the grass. You know, Sokolova said once, if not for your dog, no one would have believed you. Ekaterina smiled. He was the only one who always knew I was innocent. Baron came over and rested his head on her knees. In his eyes was everything. Forgiveness, love, and the silent strength that had saved her soul. One evening, as the sun set behind the pines, Ekaterina stroked his aging fur. You gave me my life, Baron. Everything I have is because of you. He sighed softly, closing his eyes. The world became quiet, but no longer empty. People in the city didn't speak of miracles. They spoke of a dog who never forgot, of loyalty stronger than any sentence, of love that pulled a person out of hell. Ekaterina placed her old prison patch, convict, beside Baron's new medal on a shelf. Two symbols of one truth. Sometimes justice doesn't come from the courtroom, but from a heart beating beside you. A heart called friend.